Is your creative business as successful as you would like it to be? Well, why not? Why not? Because I happen to know that you are creatively brilliant at what you do. Every single individual one of you are brilliant at what you do. So what on earth is going on here? I'm going to talk to you today about the intuitive structure that creatives secretly need for career and business success. Because contrary to popular belief, we do require structure, and creativity does require structure. It absolutely does. And hopefully, if you're a little bit on the fence about that, or you're not sure, then I'm going to prove it to you as we move through this session today. There are three reasons, at least three reasons, where you might not be where you would like to be yet. So number one, you're not actually clear on what you want, where you're going, or your why. We all love what we do, but we know that art for art's sake does not pay the mortgage. It does not buy the weekly grocery shop. It does not buy new school shoes. We've all decided to be freelance or to run a creative business because we need to make money from our creativity. That is the service or the product that we're selling. And I want to tell you, it is perfectly acceptable to do that. No matter what limiting beliefs you might have or what you might have heard about it's not spiritual to charge money for what we do, I don't believe that at all. We also need to get really clear on what we want and where we're going. The second one is you've not stepped fully into the identity of the business owner. So I want you to just tune in for a moment and think about how you identify yourself and maybe what you introduce yourself as. We often lead with the work that we do and not the fact that we are a business owner. Even if we're a business of one, which many of us watching here today are. So we've not fully stepped into the identity of business owner. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, we're not listening to our most powerful business and creative advisor of all, our intuition. What's absolutely critical here in being successful in business takes two things. It takes the inner work as well as the outer work. I'm going to rattle through some of the outer work because you can't have one without the other. I have seen so many of my coaching community colleagues, my fellow creatives, go down this rabbit hole of doing the inner work, but actually not doing enough of the outer work as well. So we absolutely must get strategic and intentional. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what your destination is, if you don't know what your desired outcome is, how do you know which bus to get on? Quite simply, you don't. And you're standing there at the bus station going, well, do I take that one? Do I take that one? No. So get clear on your destination. That will determine your strategy. And if you're on social media, which most of us are, you will hear many, many people talking about the fact that it's not about strategy, it's about energy. And you'll hear people talk about the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and so on. But I'm absolutely clear and I'm absolutely passionate about this is about strategy with a capital S, being strategic. It's not about the micro strategies that you can follow to create a funnel to maximize your sales, for example. It's about having a strategic blueprint for your creative business. It's just like every restaurant needs a menu. If a restaurant didn't have a menu, how would the chef know which ingredients to buy from the market? How would they know how long it's going to take to prepare a particular dish or who it's going to appeal to? So your business needs a strategic blueprint. It doesn't have to be massively detailed and massively fancy, but it needs one. And you need to be really clear. What are the pillars of your business? What's the one thing or two things or three things that your business does? Get really clear on those. But make no mistake, your business has to meet the requirements of the inland revenue or whatever tax system you're operating in your country. So it also needs other operational elements to it, like finance. It needs operations, and it needs somebody who's really beginning to think like a CEO and a leader of the business as well. And then finally, one thing that I'd like to mention here is that you can absolutely create a repeatable and sustainable experience for your customers, for your clients, for your end users, using your own unique signature system. This is so important because without this, what happens is we become scattered and we start creating everything from scratch every time we begin. And we all have a signature process and a signature way of doing things. Some of us are a bit less conscious of it, and so therefore we're not conscious of how easy it is to repeat it. And this is something that I work with people on, to just get really clear on kind of what your process is really, really liberating. So your business might not be quite where you want it to be, your creative business is. At least a part of you needs to begin to identify as a business owner. If you're a business of one, the likelihood is that you don't at the moment, or not yet, employing a CEO, a CFO and a CMO. So what you have to do is to actually start to think and act like one yourself. You have to put on that, think like them. It might sound a little bit crazy, but it's a subtle but not so subtle shift. It really gets you to think differently, and it's almost like, okay, what would Stephen Bartlett think here? What would he think? What would he do? What would Sarah Davies do? What would Sarah Meaden do? What kind of information would they be asking for or looking for or providing at this stage in the creative process? Ask for help. Learn and work from professionals when you can. And if you can't afford to pay a professional, maybe do some trades with friends, colleagues who do have those skills, but begin to ask for help and begin to get clearer. The trouble is we as creatives, we sometimes don't know what we don't know in business. So actually asking for help, reaching out, joining other networks where we can learn about those things is really valuable. I've talked about creating a repeatable and sustainable signature system as well. And the other reason why that really helps us as a business owner is that it frees us up to do all of the things in our business that we need to do. But above all, we need to do the identity work from the outside in and the inside out. So our unconscious thoughts, beliefs and actions shape absolutely how we show up, how we're perceived, how we perceive ourselves. They shape how we show up physiologically. They show up in our decisions, they show up in our actions, and they show up in our language. So we have to do the identity work and spend time on that. So moving into the real kind of juice of this short session is, let's talk about the ways that you can get in touch with your intuition. You might not think of it as your intuition. You might think of it as your gut. You might think of it as your inner voice. You might think of it as your higher self. It doesn't matter. They're all similar things, just wrapped up with a different label. In the interest of time, I've had to really pick on a small number of ways to get in touch with your intuition. But these are, I think, the easiest and most accessible, and in many ways the most valuable. First of all, meditation and stillness. Maybe you've tried meditation before and you haven't been able to quieten the mind. It's like anything in life. It's no different to learning how to ride a bike or learning to swim. It takes practice. The more we do it, the easier it gets. Meditation and stillness, going quiet, creating space is so valuable because it helps us to calm our nervous system. It helps us if we're feeling anxious or overwhelmed. It helps us to calm those. Get out of our heads and back into our bodies. Our bodies have such incredible wisdom, but we're taught through school and we're taught through all of the last 30, 50 years of business education. It's all been about logic, thinking and being in your head. What I really want you to do, I want you to get out of your head. Get out of your own head. And meditation and stillness are a lovely way to do that. Don't go straight trying to be a Buddhist monk in complete silence in a cave with no thoughts. Go for a guided meditation. There are many of them freely available on YouTube, and there's one on my website as well, a grounding meditation. It's just the art of slowing. And when you slow down, the noise quietens and you can begin to listen to what's coming through. What is your intuition? What is your inner voice telling you? Your intuition is always kind. It's never judgmental. If you're getting an inner voice or a thought coming through that sounds judgmental or critical, that's not your intuition. It's not your higher self. It's your ego mind and your ego voice speaking. So just pay attention to that. Number 2, learn your body's yes/no signal. Absolutely fundamental. Our bodies are so much wiser than we know, and our bodies tell us when we're not listening. It makes us pay attention. Anybody ever been kind of in a really busy phase at work or working on a launch of something new and then actually got sick? I know I have. Is actually your body is getting you to pay attention to something that you're not listening to. But the most powerful signal that we can learn for ourselves is our yes/no signal. And again, it takes practice. If someone suggests something to you, notice what happens inside your body. Where do you feel it in your body? If someone says to you, oh, we're going on a team building event and we're all going to do a bungee jump, what does your body say? Where's the yes signal? Would you like to do a bungee jump? Where does the yes come from, or where does the no come from? If any of you have listened to my podcast, one of my podcast episodes was called How You Do Anything is How You Do Everything. And in there I talk about a particular scenario where I was under a lot of pressure to make a decision. And my body was screaming at me, no, 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 don't do it. I personally have learnt my yes signal. In human design, I am what is known as a generator, and our yes signals often come through a real audible signal. So I can't control it. It's almost somebody says to me, puts something to me, and it's exciting, and my intuition wants to do it. You get a spontaneous, ooh, that's exciting, that interests me. But notice what your yes and no signal is telling you. If you keep ignoring the no signal, your body will make you pay attention. So come back to those situations where you got sick when you were trying to launch something, is likely because you were overriding a very strong no on something or a number of things that's happening for you. The third way to get in touch with your intuition is through journaling and actually getting creative. In many ways, that's music to your ears. Creative friends. We all love to be creative. And so this is your invitation. If you're a writer, formal or not, or if you love to write, allow yourself to write. To even allow yourself to channel, or after meditation, still in that meditative state, or when you wake up in the morning, find a reflective prompt question that you want to answer and write about it. But equally, for you, it might not be writing, it might be drawing, it might be painting, it might be sewing, knitting, anything. You lose yourself in the creative process, and in so doing, the intuition absolutely begins to flow. It floods through you, because you've only got one job in this life, actually, and that is to live an absolutely beautiful life and to have fun, to have joy. When you have fun and joy, and when you're experiencing them, and often when you get into that flow, that joyful flow through creativity, that is when your vibration becomes truly magnetic and your intuition really begins to speak to you. So I've strayed a little bit into the raising your vibration piece here, because when we're doing what helps us to feel good, our systems and our bodies are open to receiving the messages, seeing the signs and seeing the signals that are there for us, and seeing the opportunities, being able to grasp the opportunities that are being put in front of us. So this is something that is just so important, and it's not something you just do once. I'd say do this as many as 10 times a day. Yep, I said 10 times. Oh my word. Did I really say 10 times? Yeah, I did. And if that means putting on your favourite song or one of your favourite songs so many times, do it. Dance, sing, take a few minutes out as often as you can to keep your vibration high. And if it's gone low, don't let it go lower. Nip it in the bud. Raise it up again. And finally, but not exhaustively, walk in nature. The mindful walk is absolutely crucial when we are up here in our head, when we're feeling tension, stress and pressure. Last winter, I'd been stuck in my head for days and days, and actually the same unwanted thoughts were going round and round and round. So we decided to go out for a walk, and we walked probably about 3 or 4k on our loop, and it was still happening. And my husband said, do you want to go this way or do you want to go that way? Knowing that that way was a lot longer. And I said, yeah, we need to keep going, we need to keep going. And so I used that classic mindfulness technique of 5 things I can see, 5 things I can hear, 5 things I can smell, 5 things I can feel. And I just kept doing it over and over and over again. It was like leaf, sky, cloud, mud, stone, all of it. And 15 to 20 minutes later, I just suddenly realised the unwanted thoughts had gone. And then I could really get myself into a much more resourceful state. Because when we're in that stress, tension and pressure piece, we're not in a resourceful state. We don't make good and clear decisions. We don't follow up on the right opportunities. We don't often say the right thing. So getting in touch with our intuition is so beneficial in every single way. And this is just the beginning. There are so many other ways in which you can do it. The key takeaways I'd like you to have from today are: do take the outer action and balance it with the inner work. One without the other doesn't work. If you spend all your time doing the inner work but not doing the outer work, it isn't really gonna happen. You have to take action as well, and you have to keep moving your business forward. If you believe in the power of the universe loves to know that you've got some skin in the game, that you're serious. If you said you want something, well, show the universe by taking action, by making decisions that are telling it that you're serious and showing it your commitment. So balance the inner work and the outer action, and absolutely find ways to nurture your intuition. And if this is completely new to you, that's absolutely fine. Just choose one thing that appeals to you and give it a go. Choose one of those 5 things and work with them for a while, and then, experiment with something else. What qualifies me to talk about all of this stuff? So I am an intuitive transformation strategist, all of my work is involved in transformation, whether that's at the individual, the team, or the organisation level. I work with leaders in corporate, I work with business owners and freelancers, and I work with individuals on their own careers as well. I've got many years experience. I'm an NLP practitioner and I have many coaching certifications. I'm also the co-founder of the Values Jam movement, so values are everything to me. Values are so fundamental to how we operate in the world and how we prioritise what's important to us. I'm a mum, a wife, I am a business owner, I'll own that. I'm an art lover, I'm an explorer. And yes, I went from bankrupt to multi-six-figure business owner through a combination of lots of inner work and the outer work as well. But actually, in many ways, I have to say, it's the inner work and the intuitive work that in the end has had the most transformational difference for me and for my business. So I know that it can work for you too. If you're not already connected with me on social media, this is how you can connect. So please do. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't taken a listen to the podcast yet, I'd love to hear what you think and to help me grow the followership so that we can connect with more and more people. There's a combination of solo episodes and guest episodes, so getting to that bigger audience is really important to all of us. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to share with you today. There's so much more that I can share, and I work with people on a one-to-one basis on a number of levels, from one-to-one immersive sessions through to 3 months, 6 months, and even 12 months programs. And if that is of any interest to you, do reach out and let's have a conversation.